In this video, we're going to talk about what everybody was talking about at the gym. It did raise a trimmed eyebrow. Now, this is a high frequency limiter and a parallel high frequency compressor. So in the vinyl era, if you kept your highs very open and hi-fi as much as you could, you would have very fast, spiky, open transients on high frequencies. And this would be trouble for the vinyl playhead to read, and even for, the vinyl to be printed actually. One thing you would do would be to control those highs. Not because it was too bright, it was too bright for the medium, okay? And that's why high frequency limiters and compressors like the Mazalek came out. Now today, the reason why I would be interested in this, I don't care, maybe yours is different, you have different reasons, but I am interested in using this to actually push the highs in terms of perceived detail in my mixes. Why? Because modern productions in the style of music I do are very dark, but still airy in detail. So this could kind of liven up stuff in my realm of music. Okay, I'll go over the interface because when we start touching things, then we know where we are. So we have the logo, of course, and we've got the presets, of course. We've got AB, we've got external, I think sidechain. We got, the possibility of switching AB. We have a global bypass and the name of the plugin. And then we have two sections. Easy. It's very easy. Look what I'm doing. I'm turning off these two sections by using the power buttons, okay? So the left section is the main high frequency limiter, and the right part is the parallel limiter, which is still high frequency related. This is not an 1176 put there, a pair of them put there to just crank things up, okay? This is high frequency parallel injection, okay? So it's still within the realm of high frequencies, but they are two different sections. And another thing that I want to show you just right now so that you know what we're talking about is that these two sections have a bandwidth selector for each of the sections, okay? So you see why there are these two vertical lines, two pairs, and then there's the solo buttons. These are made so that you can select the area of operation of your high frequency limiter and of the parallel injector. So one is a low boundary that can go down to 10 Hertz, and one is a high boundary that can actually switch to off. And we can solo these so that we can kind of audition where they're going, right? 10 Hertz, off, easy. If we wanted to kind of stay where the Mazalek works, I think we should stay at around 2.6, 2.7, 2.5. I'm going to go 2.6, something like that. In my studies and what I've seen in Leaf Moses manuals, I seem to remember it's kind of like a 2.6 thing. How does this work? Well, you can link the channels and you can work in mid-side or left-right mode, okay? So we got plugins that do this. We're fine. We're all good, okay? We lower the threshold of the high-frequency limiter, and we're going to hit against such threshold, and we're going to see the amount of reduction on the centered part. You see here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay. If we want to really just audition the change, we use the little headphones there. Okay. That is going to give you an idea of the delta between the original signal and the processed. And I think Ryan made a very good point in the manual to say, do not overthink this. Do not use this to monitor what's happening. It's useful, but this should not be how you look at the big picture, because you cannot look at the big picture that way. Good. So we've got the left, right. We can unlink the left and right thresholds if we want. If we unlink the thresholds, the channel link, I think it's going to be disabled. Okay. It's going to be 0% by definition, maybe, but it doesn't change so far. So I think I read in the manual that it will switch to 0% if you unlink the channels. But channel linking, as we said, is the amount of linking of the detectors, like in any compressor. If we go 0%, left and right are completely independent. If we go 100%, the average is going to be clamping down. If the right channel has the hi-hat that is too bright, it's going to limit the high frequencies in the left channel anyway. The meters are only displaying the level of the selected bandwidth. This is important because this is going to allow us to set our threshold points, okay? Then, very easy, we have a fast and slow attack, fast and slow release behavior. This is, as you would expect. We can trim the level, and then finally we can add the parallel injector, and we can kind of bring it up and down. So this will make it more aggressive, but this will determine the level at which it will sit. We'll see, okay? We're trying this. I haven't tried that. I've read the newsletter and stuff like that, but then there's oversampling, and then there's linear phase or minimum phase. And I'm gonna just throw it to you right here. I am not gonna use linear phase for starters. Why? Because my ears are tuned when I use these devices to minimum phase. This is Regulator is a track I wrote some time ago, and I think it ended up in a couple videos because it's still a song I own, technically. I think this is a fairly dark track, but maybe I'm wrong. I just thought this is the track I want to use. So let's listen to it. Let's find a spot. I'm going to take it from here. Okay, I stop it here because it just closed down. Now I remember this says from solid mix 1 reprint no mix bus. So there's no mix bus in this print. I want to do 4 times oversampling just for starters, but minimum phase and a slow attack fast release, no solos, channel linking 100%. We drop it down while it's going. We keep 2.6. We trim accordingly, and then we see if we want to add these. But let's concentrate on the left part first. Did you see what happened when I had it set at 0 on the quieter part? The meters for the gain reduction just went boom, completely down because there's a high frequency hit that was completely tamed. I wasn't quite happy with like slow, fast. I think fast slows fits the soundtrack kind of thing a little bit more. And 100% channel link wasn't really working. I'm now kind of hearing it float. I'm gonna restart this and just gonna bypass it. Am I looking for more high frequency injection now? Well, no. And I'm very curious about mid-side with us kind of getting the two thresholds to kind of get different. Let's try that. And I picked a great example. Take a look at where the LEDs pop up, okay? You saw it, right? I got that sting and it got captured. Now, how about we listen to it without? Okay? Oh, hey, Mars. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. We're testing HiFAL because everybody at the gym was talking about that. I do not go to the gym, but I heard that they were talking about it. So let's listen to this sting once again without this, and then I'm going to turn the settings I have on HiFAL on, okay? Okay? Kind of an anvil sound, right? That's how a lot of people call them. Okay. Now with. Okay. Without. With. Let's talk about what I hear technically. I can tell you this sounds good. This plugin's doing what it should do. It's taking that registry. We're going 2.6 kilohertz to oblivion, to like Nyquist, and it's really just getting it done and it's disappearing. I think that when it's processed, it's kind of like brought into the context. It feels more three-dimensional just because it's not getting masked. In that 10 milliseconds of time, the sound is not getting to my ears in the center, so I am more appreciative of the boom thing, of the soundscape. But I still compensated 0.4, so I still get that. It's just kind of like being rebuilt. I like that. Let's start from the beginning, see where it happens. Then we go to the strings at the end. Okay, so it is really unobtrusive. We're not using parallel limiter yet. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to copy A to B. I want to use B to do something more. I want to get to, you hear those glitches, the bit crashed glitches at the sides. I want to get the thresholds to just be lighting up on the zero, just to get mangled a little bit. Okay, so obviously now, because we dropped the ceiling like right there, we got minus 33 against what, minus 24. When the hit comes, the sting, the anvil kicks, we're dropping there. Does it sound processed and horrible? Honestly, no. This sounds really good. We're asking to lift a ton of highs right there, very fast. So I think it's a good plugin. This is a print I've done of my track without the mix bus, okay? So transients are going, there's no automation to tame stuff. I use very little compression on the tracks. So man, I mean, look at the dynamics from the beginning to the part. Should we play them side by side? Let's try. Like a couple glimpses here, and then we go here, okay? We start like here, and then here. Okay, just a dynamic range. Now let's go to 24 and let's try the strings here without and with. More sugar, right? More salt. They're getting more high frequencies into our ears, but they're controlled. Now, let's work on it let's first right click while it's going so that we can fine tune, we can kind of get our ears to know what we're doing. And then I'm going to hit the delta, okay? So we hear what it's applying things to. And I'm going to start from kind of like the center part. Just so that we know, right click in the middle, it's going to monitor that part, and then we go to the delta, okay? So just so we get tuned. Hear what's going on here. This is exactly what I was talking about. I am not going to use these to tame the high frequencies. I'm going to use these to enhance the high frequencies of my music, because I have moments in which I'm falling ever so slightly short of brightness, and a low volume, especially for soundtracks and underscoring, when you're floating, there's dialogue on it, you still want to have a little bit of that sparkle. You don't want to fall short of it, but you don't want to be overly intensive there. Although you're going to get remastered when they bring your music into the context of a production. You're not going to deal with that because you don't have control over the movie, the short film, the video game and stuff. But it's good to be under control, because if you have an audience that is also very headphone compliant, like most of them use headsets like in video games, you want to be able to kind of nudge it so that it's appealing, but it's not too much, but it's not dark. And I'm going to add this. A lot of the modern headsets are actually on the darker heavy bass side and not too bright, believe it or not. Nicely. It sounds like a mix bus process, which again, this print does not have mix bus. So we're using this as a mix bus processor. It's just movie. It's just like, I hear that. It's just a triple A-ish, okay? I want that triple A thing. I want to feel official. I want that producers are like, wow, this sounds like somebody who gets paid for it, but we're not going to pay him. This is amazing. I want that kind of reaction. Let's re-listen to it. I'm going to go mid-side, and then I'm going to unlink, as I said, the mid and side, and we're going to do different types of limiting for mids and side. I'm curious as to what's going to happen. Let's try that. Okay, so this is just a test. I'm pushing it. It's keeping its pace. It's just not flinching. But this is wrong. I would never do that. But we're taking the mid channel and we're constantly asking it to stay down. The kicks have been deprived of their impact. Now it's just a heartbeat. So let's try that with the side content. I hate it this way. Obviously, I would never do it. You hear how boring it becomes? You lose the cinema effect, all of my effects, all of the side content I've tuned through the pedals, the reverbs, the plugins, the thing. It's going away because we're kind of clinching on that 2.6 kilohertz to Nyquist. On the side, we're constantly keeping it down. Let's try and do this in kind of like the heavier part. It's good. Okay, I like this. I gotta give it to you that it's still behaving like technically it is not crunching, it is not feeling weird. To me, it sounds, yes, it's a kind of a sugar rush thing. The side content where the details are is just getting broadcasted more, and the mid side is just being, pushed in context without being retained. But I think it's a little bit cheap, a trick to do. However, it sounds much classier than other solutions that I have kind of tried and not want. So we're gonna redo it, but now I'm gonna turn on the parallel limiter. Oh, this is the manual, I don't want that. We're gonna turn these on. We're gonna decide how much we want after we bring it in. I'm gonna keep for now the same area of operation so that the parallel limiter works where the high frequency limiter is doing its thing. So the injector has the same area, but just so you know, you can decide to inject a parallel high frequency crunched area that is completely different from the other one. For example, I'm kind of thinking the 3 kilohertz range. Oh, we got so much to do. I got ideas. Okay, let's do these first. In my style of stuff that I'm doing, I'm thinking and I'm still hearing this is not on a mix bus thing. This I wouldn't do. I want to tailor this to a high frequency part that makes sense to me and use this parallel injector as kind of like a brilliance pack reborn. Okay, let's try that. And I want to do it. There's a part here where I think it's going to be perfect. Okay, this. Have you heard how kind of obnoxious it is a little bit? That narrow part? Okay, now we try and inject it. And I'm gonna go, to be honest with you, I'm gonna just push it to 0 and then we turn it on and off, okay? Just I wanna get shocked. I wanna hear what this is doing. Especially on the quieter parts. too much, okay? Too much. But it is making more sense now than being full spectrum to me. Let's try and do the final part where we get the strings into their bones, okay? This could be now, this is me being, egoistic. This is me being selfish in saying, I want to hear how the strings are going to do if we kind of like fry them up in a good way in the final part. So let me try that. Okay, that part. You heard that? Think it's not about the quantity, it's more about how they feel. So let me try this. This is good now. This is no longer cheap. This is no longer cheap. Let's do another pass, just resetting things around. I'm gonna do a B setting. Like, let's work on this area here. Okay, this also works as a closing factor, but I think this is kind of like the most, I wouldn't say boring, but this is like a maximizer for a mix, okay? This sounded to me like, let's do a mix enhancer kind of thing. Personally, I liked it better in the first tests, but it's solid. And I'm thinking this has a room for it. I see why Ryan wanted to do it. So thank you, Ryan, for doing that. And that's it. Remember, you have the links there. If you like what you see, you find these useful, check my Patreon out. It really, really helps me. Thank you. See you soon. Ciao.